So in talking about situational awareness, it's important to remember about the baseline. Now, what do I mean by the baseline? Essentially, that's what's normal around you. What are other people behaving like? What are they acting like? Is it normal? What is normal for that context, for that situation? That's going to be the most important part about establishing the rest of whatever you're doing. When you get somewhere, when you arrive somewhere, whether it's your AO or whether it's just a new place in general, you really should be sitting down somewhere, relaxing for a minute, maybe taking a cup of tea, and just observing around you what the baseline is like. How do people act? How do people dress? What do they look like? Are there anybody out there in the crowd that might be potentially observing you? Is there anybody out there in the crowd that might potentially be suspicious, not even necessarily towards you, not a threat towards you, your family, yourself, whatever, but just in general? Maybe a nervous, sweaty guy looking at his watch, looking at his phone, somebody who just doesn't belong. You're not going to be able to see that unless you take a look around at the baseline. So that's what I always say when it comes to this whole gray man stuff, executive protection, fundamentals, whatever you want to call it. Baseline is really the most important thing. Sit down, take 20 minutes or so, grab yourself a meal or a cup of tea or whatever it is, just observe. Right, guys, so situational awareness, I really harp on this stuff. Now, when you're getting into your vehicle, this can potentially be a very important thing. Now, instead of a lot of people get in willy-nilly, sort of like this, and then you get cracked on the side of the head, all of a sudden something happens, give me your wallet, whatever. Would it be a way better idea to kind of look around before you get in willy-nilly style and maybe just back in like this? When you get in your vehicle, go ahead and lock the door right away before turning on your vehicle, before fiddling with whatever. You go ahead, it's either a push button, it's a key turn, whatever it is, and you go ahead and take another look around. Check your mirrors. It's not hard to do. It takes 5 fucking seconds, guys, but it can potentially save your life. Now, when you get in your vehicle, don't fucking start fiddling with your phone or whatever. You want to immediately start to egress that area. Now, you don't need to live your life like a paranoid fuck, but if it's late at night and you have any reason to believe something may potentially happen, why don't you at least get rolling and go somewhere else, or at least get into the position where you could egress that situation rapidly should you need to? Are you backed in, or are you already, combat parked, facing outboard? If you're facing outboard, maybe go ahead, throw that car in drive, keep your foot on the brake, then take care of putting directions in your phone or whatever. Those are some simple techniques, some simple things that have really helped me out, and hopefully it will never have to help you out, but if it does, you can thank me later. So what is risk mitigation, and how can we apply it to our daily lives? Well, essentially, risk mitigation would be like going on an advance work or an executive protection detail. When you go in advance of the client, you arrive there, you scope out the baseline, you scope out the environment before he gets there, he or she arrives. What you're doing there is risk mitigation. How can we mitigate the amount of risk that we're potentially exposed to? We really want to find out not only things like, where are the exits, entrances, primary points of egress, and whatever, but we also want to be able to find out, what are the potential risks in this environment? What are we looking at here? Is it a high-risk area in the sense that there's threats from, a certain group, or a certain type of attack primarily happens here? We've seen this again and again. Or is it simply that, we're stateside, everything's pretty chill, but there are a lot of gang activities around here, or people carry weapons and this and that. So risk mitigation essentially is a skill set that we can hone for ourselves whenever we travel, simply to mitigate the amount of risk that we are exposed to, and more importantly, the amount of risk that our family is going to be exposed to potentially. So whenever we talk about risk mitigation, that's kind of what I mean by that, and I really think that baseline, situational awareness, and risk mitigation are 3 things that if we incorporate that into our daily lives, especially our travel routines, we are more susceptible to attacks while we travel. That would really improve our odds of survival no matter where we go, no matter what we're doing. We'll see you in the next section.